So scared.
All right, I think you're live. Okay, you're live.
My best dream. I'm like today, I was like, that's right.
You can come online and let's.
So joking, yeah. I'm just thinking like right now.
So first thing first is thank you for your patience. I know we started late today. It is 3:36. Like 1 hour more, we are done with today's class. So we're gonna be dealing with um a simple project, actually backend. We use Python to get familiar with how Python runs very well. So the name of the tool is Expense Tracker Pro. It's actually is a purely backend project. It's not really much. I think we do it 2 or 3 files we use to link together with your IDEs. We're using VS Code IDE and Git Bash terminal, which is linked to your VS Code already. It isn't a challenge. Just open your VS Code, type Ctrl J, and switch to Bash, and good to go. So this project is about personal finance. To think about when you buy food, pay for the tea fare, you buy school supplies, you need to keep track of your spendings. So with this app, we will enter the expense, that is the amount, the name, category, and we can save those expense in a CSV file because CSV file means comma separated value, like a mini Excel. They can summarize expenses by categories and compare spending with a budget to see how much is left. It's very practical because every adults, like teenagers, adults, needs to manage money.
That's like the D calculator. If it doesn't work, try the D calculator or need S at the end. Because sometimes it just depends on how you look it.
Okay, am I like the Lord is good? By the way, next time we'll pastor the house, my for a pastor Jubilee, the golden time. So I'm like, okay, I love Jesus. Okay, so let me share my screen with you guys.
DIR together when work DIR.
Let me share my screen with you guys. Just bear with me, bear with me.
Expense tracker pro.
Remove every rubbish from here.
To experience underscore.
Okay, so let's do this together. Share my screen. Share my windows. All right.
The edition you just the number
Okay, so this is my windows now. So this is my so inside your dev folder, create a new folder called be honest, I love my domain is lowercase expense tracker pro. Or they give it more swag to be like okay. We use X tracker pro. All right, then that is done. Let's now import this into our VS Code. So I open your VS Code terminal, import it. So let me share my VS Code screen. So that and import this into our VS Code terminal. Is there any issue? Any challenge, please? Okay. Good.
Yeah.
So I'm using my two screens so that for easier visibility. After you've created the folder inside your dev folder, remember, now we open our VS Code because should be empty. Don't mind my own. Okay. So let me close it. So let's now import it. Go click on file, click on add folder, so that's add folder to workspace. Then go to your name of the folder, click on it once, click on add, and it shows to show as an empty folder. It's empty. Let's start with the coding. Step one we'll do is this. Of course, I like putting storing all my commands in a file. So put a file, call it command.txt. So command.txt. Oh, it's taking a bit there. Please flow with me. Any question, let me know, and we will. Bonjour, monsieur. Oh my lord. Comment ça va? Let me see if don't worry. I love that French. Please, who else here is Spanish? Say hi. And Italian. Still French, man. Okay. Okay, so without further ado, let's get going. So now work with the two files. Let's create a file called expense.txt. Okay, first one, call it expense underscore tracker.py. Then create another file, expense.py. Should be linked. This file will all be linked together. Then we'll create a folder that would show our outputs. We'll call the folder file. Call it file. You can see my screen clearly. No, right? All right. Can you see it now? I think so.
This is only you can make the phone speaker.
Is that big enough? Okay, let me increase my font size.
Yes. No, this yeah, wait.
Okay, I think I'm back now. To God be all the glory.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's testimony time. You put your offering so give me a pastoral seed. Okay, all right. So we now run through it again. Okay, let me show it to you guys. Run through it where we stopped at. Don't mind my Nigerian network. Nigeria is the best country in the world. Yeah, best president in the world. Mr. Silver. Hey, Jesus Christ. Okay, so we did a folder called it Expense Tracker Pro. In it, we created a folder called file that will show our outputs of the CSV expense summary. Then we did a command.txt file. I'll show you my code prompt there. Then but work mainly with two files, expense.py and expense tracker.py. So move from the first to the last. So start from the first. Let's code a bit on expense.py. I love coding with command prompt, so with comments, so I will know what we're doing, avoid any challenge. So having said that, let's do it. Sidebar and we proceed. You can see my screen. Okay, you can see my screen. Now we're using class. So we'll include our function in the class. We call the class. Remember in Python, follow me. Don't you know I use my lowercase. Don't do how I want to show you an error. That's anyway, error is very easy to debug. So class, call the class expense We love Python, one of the best languages in the world. Quote me in anywhere so
Yeah.
we define a class named expense, then okay,
Yeah, just
then we'll define, then we'll define the, now init is a function in Python, but normally the init means initialize to kickstart something. So init initialize, find the initialization method, which is known as, now is two underscore, call it dunder. So underscore one, two, then init underscore twice, call it dunder. Take note of that. So with three parameters, which will be name, category, and amount. You can see my code. I think it's big enough, right? It's big enough, yeah. Okay, let's start now. So defining def, then the initialize. Remember, I used two underscore sign, not one underscore. Init, so put in name, category, and amount. It's called Thunder. All right, then let's now. So, by the way, I love initialize. Initialize the in it. Please stop, please. Yeah, initialize the name attributes. Now, remember, we did a function called init, then we called attributes name, category, amount, there. Now, initialize the name attributes of the expense objects, which will be self.name equals to name. Just copy this, copy section and paste. So just copy these three things. Copy, paste. Change from name. Remember, can use Control D to highlight two things. So change the name to category. And third one, change it to amounts. Please be fast, take note of case I won't draw us back. My fellow student, for that, we'll define the representation method. That's now the first method, a first method called init. Now, second one I'm doing is called representation with REPR method, which is known as under it's to provide a string. STR means string, okay? It's a string rep. I love using abbreviation. String rep of the expense objects. Okay, let's now define def after which let's now return a string, return a string representation of the expense objects with the keyword return. You're following me? Oh,
Yes, sir.
okay. All right. So then return. So we want to make sure our decimal is in only two decimal places. We use F keyword for that. So expense self name, just copy. So self name, self category. There's amount. This amount is a number. So we use the dollar sign and self amount. And what you use to two F. Two F means float. So we want to be two different places. So I don't more than that. Not much wahala of that. It's wahala. So I'm done with the tracker. Go to the next file. Are we done with that? Okay, let me take it down so that let me take it down. If you're done, just give me a thumbs up. Let's move on. Give me a thumbs up. Let's move on.
I need to see this other part of the code.
Okay, let me just also take this one down. Okay, can you see that? Now let's start the next. Let's move on to the next file, expense.txt. Okay, we have 30 minutes to go for this. So, yeah, are we good? Oh, what's the issue?
I'm not able to see that.
See what? See
You're
sure.
right.
You're blocking it. Oh, powers. Okay, I'll do this. All right, can you see it now? Okay, so let's expense.txt. We want to import the necessary modules. Then we will import the expense class from the expense module. So from expense import expense from the other file. Let's make it sideways. Okay, that's not bad. So then next one, just do that one. Just copy this one and Copy and paste. Then from the calendar module, what calendar module for date related functionalities? Correct. So we'll just put import calendar only. Import calendar lowercase. Then we're going to import the date time module. Date time module for working with dates and times. Just something import date time. So it's import. Are we done with the expense tracker? Because people are okay. Let me close that and put my full stuff. People are fast, that's good. Okay, so import date time calendar, not dr. Okay, now let's now go on to find the function. Define the main function def main. So now we're going to print, I want us to print a message. Message indicating, or indicates that the expense tracker is running. Just do your print running expense tracker. Okay, then we'll get user input for expense. So declare variable, we'll say expense is assigned to get user expense. Not by the website line. So we call the get user expense function to get expense details from the user. Okay. Therefore, we will now define the file. We'll define the file path for storing the expenses. So let's define the file path for storing the expenses. Call it the name expense file path. Remember, we created a folder called file folder. So now we're going to store it here. So put your double quotes. So file forward slash. Let's call our CSV file our CSV file expenses dot CSV, all in lowercase letters. This will be the okay. Get user expense. All right, good. And let's set a budget amount. Let's say our budget for the week is 7,000 naira. I know it's too small, but just for instance, we are living in a very poor country. For example, okay, so someone can buy us beans and rice for 1 week. So set budget. Are you following this?
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Sas, how are you? You're quiet today. What's the matter? Are you seeing visions? I see spirits. So budget is 7. When you see 7 budget, it means 7K. So instead of like you say A assigned to 3. So now 6 budget is 7K. This is one price for now. This is what the normal price for now. Normal price 7K as a flat rate. All right. Next we'll do is we will write the user expense to a file so that when we run the code to now give us the result in the file in the expense.csv that we have. Okay, to a file. So now let's do, we call it save user expense. So expense file paths. Now this we will call the save user expense function to save the user's expenses, right? Yeah, or expense. Okay, then once that's written the expenses, I have to now read it. How do we read or view it? So let us write the code. So to read the file and summarize expenses, we say summarize underscore expense. So we'll say expense file paths budgets. Which is to call the summarize expense function to don't mind jargons, too much ambiguity. Keep it simple. Okay. So let's now write the function. So function to get user details. So def get user details. I love how I the code, you can have on it. Let's not just spend much time. If you need to ask some questions, drop it in the comment section and I will respond to you for any clarity you seek. So print getting user expense. This now would print a message indicating that user expense details are being obtained. That's done. So let's give a space, allow space. So get expense details from the user. So we expense underscore name. So you put your name of your expense. So input to be enter expense name. Just put to get the expense name from the user. Next one, not expense, sorry, expense. Next one will be expense amount. So since this is a number, can be so we use floats. We are taking decimals too. So let's use floats to wrap up the floats and put your input tag. Input, then we'll say enter expense amount. I'm gonna assign to itself. I want to assign to you the place probably dollar or naira. So you have naira symbol. If you want to just name us for now. So enter expense amount just to get the expense amount from the user. Therefore, which would define the expense categories by saying expense categories. Also, I will put them in a list. A list, I will always put in a square bracket, and they're mutable. Tuples are always in parentheses. Sets are in curly braces. So by list, make list will be more sweeter. So break it down. Your list, break it down. Then let's do food. Let's say you're dealing with food. One basic needs is food. Let's say home bills. Let's say work expenses. Let's say fun, movies, so on. Let's say extras, extras, or let's call them miscellaneous, like extras. So we'll call it in short form MISC. Okay. I'm sorry. So I love this caps lock. Okay, that is done. We use while loop. While loop makes your repeat to be infinite. So while loop to loop it repeat. So let's loop to prompt user to select a category. So if while true, then print select a category. So once the user has put, they'll probably choose expense name, amount, the category we select for him. That is, which is home, food, work, fund, learners. So category selected, which will then print a message prompting the user to select a category. Now is a for loop now. Then for I and category name. Okay, so in enumerates, then the list. How we small letters? Sorry, small letters, small letters. So print the I plus one category. Just stay with me. And this will print category options for the user to select. Okay. Let's now go ahead to now we've left the get the user input for selecting a category. So do value underscore range one minus the length. Let's use length for length. The length of the express category. The category is keyboard has stopped open. Oh my goodness. Battery is low. Okay. Where do we start? Back. Express categories. Okay. Oh, sorry. So now, after the F, the quote before the one, put a square bracket there. Then after the curly brace, closing bar, close from there. Then this is to define the valid range of category numbers. All right. Then selected index int impute enter a category number value range -1. Now what this does is it gets user input for category selection. Then that is done. We'll check if the selected category index is valid. So we'll do if selected index in range len of expense categories selected category, so the expense categories, the index of selected index is to get this is to get the selected index. Sorry, category category. Okay. Now let's create a new expense object with user inputs. So do new expense, all the small letters, new expense your space, your brackets, the name, trying to expense name, comma, category is assigned to expense category. No, it's assigned to selected because what we category, then amount assigned to, we assign expense amount to amount, expense amount to amount. Okay, and we return it. So we return new expense. So or else, so if selected category index is valid, you get the category that will create a new index, a new object for the user, the name, category, amount, that will return the expense object. But if it's not selected, you should print, let us print for us, print an error message for invalid category. So if you not choose church or choose school, which is not here, or choose sleeping, give you an invalid response. So what will give us? Let us declare. Let it give us invalid. Give us invalid category. Please try again. Okay. All right. Function to save user expense to a file. So def save user expense expense file parts. So print user expense expense to expense file parts. So print a message indicating that user expense is being saved. Then let's open the expense file in append mode and write the expense details to it. So with open expense file parts, as F. So write expense dot name expense dot amount expense dot category /n. This is to write the expense details to the file. I'll try and be faster. So that would go early. Next function we'll do is this. So we'll do a function to summarize user expense. So define it. We'll say summarize expense file parts. We define a attribute budget. Now I'm going to print a message indicating that user expenses are being summarized. So then print summarizing user expense. So initialize an empty list to store expense objects. So open the expense file and read mode and read expense details. We'll say with open expense file part. Is any error so far? Mistake. From where? EXPN.
Like on my own code, the mistake was.
Okay. Thank God it's still online. Can we go for a review? Read all. Is code too long? Someone have it? It's not a long code, like just not 100 yet. Read all lines from the file. So for line in lines expense name expense amount expense category line dot strip, we'll strip it and then we'll split it using the comma because it's a CSV file. So we'll split each line to extract expense details. Then we'll create an expense object with the extracted details. We'll create an expense object with extracted details. So line now putting now in example, so name assigned to expense name. So amount is assigned to expense amount. Look at it on the new line. 3 minutes. Amount. Then category category assigned to expense. How are we doing? I need response. How are we doing? Okay. Or the first step of next category. So that which we then append the expense objects to the list of expenses by doing expenses dot append. Append means to add to a list. Add or append. Python is an attribute. So show me error somewhere. Okay. Expense file paths. Can't see people, so not expense file paths. EXPN file paths. Correct now. How are you seeing this one? Expense file. EXPEN SE file paths. Okay. That category expense now added expense. To calculate total expenses by category. So amount by category. So we do for expense in expenses keys expense dot category. So key if key in amount by category so then amount by category index of key is plus or equals to expense dot amount else one by category key equals to expense dot amount. So let's print expenses by category. So print expenses by category. After we finish work, we never run the code because of our time. So just print, then for key amount in amount by category dot items. So we want to print the, want to print the key amount. Oh yeah, I'm almost done. Okay, don't faint right now, please. Category. Let's calculate total that be spent. So total spent equals to sum. Anyone lost? Okay, for the right, don't worry, I'm almost done. Total lost. Sorry, so lost. Sum spent, last spent X amount for X in expenses. So print total spent total spent, am I correct? Yes, spent to 2 decimal place. Don't want it to be too much work. So let's get the get the current dates. So now assign to date time dot date time dot now calculate remaining budgets left over. That will give us, that would be, how to get that? We'll say remaining underscore budget. So take key goes to your spelling. That will be one of the issues you have in box budget. Like me to budget. So the budget minus total spent. So print just remaining. I think we're up here. We'll continue tomorrow. Okay. Object minus this. Okay, right, fine, agree now. Okay. And let's call it a day, okay? Is that it? Oh, wow. To five. Okay. Let's close today. We'll continue tomorrow. Just I want to get to watch it today. We'll continue tomorrow. Thank you for this save online. Thank you for your time, guys. And have a nice day. It's still safe. All right.